Hi everyone, Richard Wisntone here with Over 50s Money, and today, as the title of this video explains, I'm here to tell you some updates on Ofgem's reviews of various elements of the price cap. In total there are 6 elements that I want to discuss, or 6 reviews of elements that I want to discuss with you, but the main one that I want to talk about first and foremost is the EBIT price calculation review. So those of you that have signed the petition know that we've been pushing to get Ofgem to change the way profit is calculated as an element of the price cap. At the moment it's a percentage of costs, which means during this crisis energy suppliers have been allowed to charge us even more for profits, and that's why we're seeing all of these announcements about record profit levels. And in August last year Ofgem agreed to do a review of that. They've had an ongoing review process with various consultation stages over the last few months, and as I've been informing you through these updates, we were expecting an announcement any time now for the change that would be happening in July, and we were hoping that announcement would be a reduction in the amount of profit energy suppliers are allowed to charge us. Following today's meeting with Ofgem, they have informed us that they've made a decision to delay that announcement and their final decision. So we don't know what they have decided, and they're not going to tell us until they're hoping to get it implemented for the winter of 2023. So that will be either the October price cap or possibly even the January 2024 price cap, which is considered part of winter 2023. So yeah, we don't know when that announcement will be made now. All we do know is that they've delayed it further. Obviously I pressed them and said that I didn't think this was fair, and they did come back and offer me the opportunity to sit down with some of the key people on their programme of work timetable and discuss the elements that are being reviewed and when they're being reviewed. That offer came after I brought up some of these other pieces. So there's various elements that we were discussing. The other ones include wholesale cost allowances. That's additional wholesale cost allowances on top of actual wholesale costs. Operating cost allowances, bad debt allowances, all of which are being reviewed, as well as headroom allowance, which I'm fighting to get completely removed from the price cap, and a levelisation allowance. So I'll give you a brief overview on each of these and my qualms with Ofgem on all of them, because I don't think what they're doing is fair. So the operating cost and bad debt allowances are as they sound, and those are reviews to see if operating costs have changed for energy suppliers and whether the bad debt has increased or decreased, which during an energy crisis I think it's common sense to assume that both of those things would have increased. Bad debt would have gone up because prices have gone up and people are less able to afford their bills. And operating costs would have gone up because of the inflationary pressures that we're in the UK at the moment. Have also forced wages up, so it's natural to assume any review for those 2 elements of the price cap will result in an increase in the price cap. Ofgem have decided to prioritise those reviews and bring them forwards. I'm obviously not happy about that, because that brings forwards increases to the price cap. Now they may be minor increases, which will be offset by bigger decreases from the wholesale costs coming down, but they're still increases and they don't need to be brought forward in my opinion. However, they've decided to delay the EBIT review and the wholesale cost allowances, the additional wholesale cost allowances. Again, I don't know whether those reviews would result in the allowances going up or down or staying the same. No one does until the review is done. But my natural assumption, I think common sense would dictate that wholesale costs would come down, so the additional allowances would come down. And I don't think anyone disagrees that calculating profit as a percentage of cost just doesn't work, especially in a crisis, because it means energy suppliers are benefiting from the energy crisis. So I would assume both of those elements would decrease, and Ofgem have decided to delay those 2. And this is why I sort of kicked up a storm with Ofgem in today's meeting, because I don't think they should be delaying the reviews for elements that would bring down the price cap, but prioritising the review for elements that would almost certainly increase the price cap. Ofgem's response to that was, as I said to you, that we don't know what the review will result in. You can't say it will go up or down, it's a review. We don't know, but we do think, they think that those elements seem to be of the biggest concern to stakeholders, which, again, stakeholders is a large blanket term for everybody involved. I personally think the only people that are bothered by those elements are the energy suppliers, and perhaps that they've been kicking up a bit of a storm and that's why Ofgem's reviewing them. Fine. But yeah, I'm not overly happy about what they're prioritising and what they're deprioritising. The other two elements, obviously, that I wanted to mention were the levelisation cost allowance and the headroom allowance. So levelisation, I'm not sure that will make a huge impact, but I think it will be really beneficial for those of you on prepayment meters. Levelisation is where they bring all of the different payment method costs in line with each other. So at the moment, if you're on a prepayment meter, you pay more for your gas and electricity per unit than those of us on standard direct debit. And there's a middle ground for pay and receipt of bill. And Ofgem are planning to levelise those costs, so you pay the same per unit for your energy, regardless of how you pay for your energy. I think that will result in a decrease in energy costs for those on prepayment meters and an increase for those of us on standard direct debits, but I think it would just be minor movement in either direction. And to be honest, I welcome that. I don't think people should be paying more for prepayment meters. The other one was the headroom allowance, which I brought up again with Ofgem. We've been trying to push for this for a long time now, and I brought it up again to ask if we can bring a review forwards. Obviously, it's still over 2 years away. They expressed the fact that no one else seems to be talking about it, and therefore it doesn't seem like a priority to them. None of the other stakeholders have raised concerns. So my plan on that is to put together a 2-page document expressing why it should be a concern, why it is a concern, why I think it should be removed immediately, and send that into the stakeholders group at Ofgem and ask Ofgem to share that with all stakeholders and to raise it as an agenda item at the next meeting. If it turns out that the other consumer groups and the charities and other stakeholders just aren't concerned about headroom, then I think that battle may be lost. If no one else is concerned about it, Ofgem are unlikely to make the changes or even move forward the review. However, I don't see that being the case, and I'm hoping that we can get a few people talking about it, a few of the other consumer groups and charities, and highlight to Ofgem why it is such an important issue. So there's no real change on that yet. I'm just letting you know my next steps in the process for this petition and how we're going to move it forward and up the docket for Ofgem. That's pretty much all the updates I've got at the moment. If there's anything else that comes up in the following couple of weeks, I'll post another video update for you all. And as always, if you have any questions, if anything I've said today wasn't clear and you'd rather I wrote it down to explain it a little bit better, I might do that anyway. Just let me know. You can email me at richard@over50smoney.com. That email address is in the description below, as is a link to the petition. So this video will be shared with you guys that have already signed the petition. Just another reminder, we're trying to reach 500,000 signatures before we hand the petition into 10 Downing Street, so please keep sharing it online, post it on your Facebook, your Twitter, whatever social media platforms you have. Send it via email, talk to your colleagues and your friends and your family, and let's just raise awareness of this petition. If everyone can get one other person to sign, we double our number of signatures. We're more than the 500,000 people. So yeah, please do keep sharing. Thank you all for your support, and thank you for watching this video.